What's up, ladies and gentlemen? BC here. Welcome back to another episode of Supreme Being. We are on every Monday and Wednesday Eastern now since I moved to Miami. Shout out to Team BC, my real estate team. We are now officially open in Texas, about to open up in Arizona too, and we're looking at different states. If you guys are interested, go to jointeambc.com. If you guys run your own podcast and you're interested in getting me on, shoot me a message at teambcsold@gmail. That's the way to get in contact with me. Huge shout out again to everybody who has joined us at our fabulous real estate company of EXP. You can go to partnerwithteambc.com to check out that opportunity. And lastly, my tribe coaching program, Modern Success. We're having our next live event here in Miami, August 28th. I'm excited for that. We get together twice a year. It's always fun, always a good time. All right. If you guys are interested in learning more about my coaching, you can message me. You can go to briancasella.com or go to the link in my Instagram profile, the link tree. All right, let's begin. Now, today I want to talk about something that I believe is a higher level thing to do, right? So if you're a complete beginner, this may not be for you. However, if you've ever been a higher level practitioner, meaning you're not okay at something, you're not good, you're very good, and you're recognized by your peers and other people at that particular thing, meaning you're good at it, right? This is something that I want to discuss on this podcast, that once you achieve that level, right, this is what you focus on to really take it to that even next level. Or if you're not, and what you're currently focused on at that level, this is something to keep in mind and have on your radar. That way, as you ascend and you get better, you have something that you can focus on actively, that you know once you reach a certain level, it's going to take you to that next level. Because as you ascend different levels, there's going to be different things that you need to do, right? And you're going to access certain potentialities, certain tools, certain techniques, certain observations, certain developments that are only going to be had when you hit that level, that will then give you access to that next level. So it's almost like a rite of passage, and you're doing what you have to do in order to get there, right? You can't be level 10 from level 1. It goes level 1, level 2, level 3, so on and so forth, right? So what I want to describe today is something as simple as, you can enjoy the cats in the background, right? Crazies. The balance and harmony, right? The yin and yang between, yes, I'm taking life in this serious, but at the same time, I'm not. So there's like a firm looseness to what you're doing, right? There's like a serious unseriousness, right? And it sounds kind of crazy when I say that, right? But anybody who's been at a high level in anything, like I can relate to, like in basketball, when I got to that highest level playing professionally overseas, you know, when I was at my peak, playing really well in the flow, killing it, right? Performing very well. And just when I was on point in the zone, there was a looseness to me too. Yes, I was taking my training very serious and the games very serious, but there was like a looseness to me too, right? I was relaxed on the court. I wasn't tense, right? You would talk to me and I would be rational. I wouldn't be like some warrior running into battle, right? Like I would have those moments of that, but there was still a looseness to me. I could see 2 or 3 steps ahead. You know, they call it being in the zone, you know, whatever you want to call it, right? And I noticed that, you know, as I ascended the ladder in sales and communication and doing what I do in my life, I realized that, man, when I hit a certain level, it seems to be what you focus on then. Because when you start, like, let me give you a simple example, right, that I think everybody can relate to. A lot of people who follow me sell, right? They're in some sort of sales. Not everybody, but a good chunk of people who follow me are involved in sales, right? Now, typically, you have in sales, either you're selling a product or you're selling a service, right? So if you're selling a product or a service, you can think of it this way. In real estate, as an example, we look at the types of clientele, right? You look at maybe the introductory prices that somebody will have, like a realtor will get into a neighborhood or a salesperson will get into a neighborhood and they'll sell homes between, I don't know, 200,000 to 500,000, right? Then, right, in this industry in particular, you have what is considered luxury, which, you know, depending on the market, it's going to be different prices. So back in LA, you're getting upwards of like $1.5 million, $2 million plus. You're looking at luxury, right? So what I described earlier on the podcast refers specifically to a situation like this, that trait and that balance of loose, but, you know, on point, and finding that middle ground is extremely effective at that highest level. You see, this is a tool that unlocks that highest level and it lets you thrive there. Because let's think about that for a second. If I go into a meeting, right, with a client, and let's say it's in that luxury, pricing or designation, whatever you want to call it. Those people, because typically they're more affluent, let's say you're dealing with a celebrity, a CEO or something like that, right? They're used to a certain experience in the matrix of life. Okay. Now, what I just described to you earlier is a representation of the level that they would be at and their expectation of what the individual that they would work with would operate on. Now, if I don't come in with that technology already instilled in me, right, they're going to look down on me as if I don't belong with them, but not in the way that you think. Something in their subconscious, right, is going to tell them, I shouldn't work with this person. I shouldn't buy from them. This shouldn't be the salesman that I work with, right? And it has nothing to do with the societal constructs that we put, religion, race, gender, all that shit, right? Because what I'm describing is a subliminal thing. It's like the underlying tone. And when you find that combination of that yin and yang between them, right, suddenly all that other shit doesn't matter. Suddenly they're compelled and drawn to you. They want to work with you. They want to look at your product, right? If you sell a product or, a service, whatever it is, right? Because that's that magical X factor that I've been, hinting at, right? Well, one of them, right? Because there's many. That's what I'm referring to. So as you start getting better and improving and you get more confident in yourself and you begin to understand the basic processes, you have your fundamentals down, that's now the focus is to unleash that. So how do we start doing it, right? Let's look at it from a technical aspect now. Now that I described it, you have an idea of what I'm talking about, right? You can make it almost tangible in your mind. So the first thing is this. Whenever people are dealing with a particular situation, again, I'll give you a sales example, right? Why would somebody not be loose or relaxed or maybe non-attached, right? That's another word that people can relate to, right? It's a buzzword right now and all this stuff and all this marketing that we see online, right? How can they be non-attached? Well, for you to be attached and be stuck in that, right? There's an underlying assumption that particular opportunity, follow me on this, that particular opportunity is the last opportunity and you have nothing after that. That is why you become attached to it, if you really think about it, because the fear of losing that overwhelms everything else. So therefore you become attached to it, right? Think about that, right? How did I deduce that? I just deduced it in my mind. It makes sense. What else would give you that type of emotion of, oh my God, blah, 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 like that extreme reaction? Well, when you think about it, it's that. It's because you believe, whether it's true or not, in that moment, you believe that is the only opportunity. You believe that that's it, right? Because if you knew in your heart of hearts, you knew it inside and out, that there's the next one and the next one, which there is, all it requires is user input. Meaning, if I continue seeking opportunity, by virtue of me seeking opportunity, I'll find it. You get what I'm saying? So as long as you insert the person and the individual, that user, to continue looking for and searching for opportunity, it'll be had. But we forget that. So now we get into this mode of not being able to exhibit this quality that I've been describing since the beginning. Now, again, you become attached and all this other stuff happens. And now you give off everything about you, signals to that person that it's too important to you, right? When in reality, if you looked at it from the proper perspective, you would realize, man, there's plenty of opportunity. What causes people to fail in these scenarios? Again, it's the user, it's the person. Think about it. When is it over for somebody, right? Let's say somebody follows me and they're a salesperson. When is it over? When do you go back home and say, I lost? Well, it's when you decide to quit. Because technically, if you're still in the game and you're seeking opportunities and moving forward, have you really lost? Who's to determine if you lost? Only you, right? So as we continue on this journey, although people keep looking for surface level solutions, it's your mental technology or lack thereof that allows you to get to a higher level, which is why I've always been preaching to people. It's between the ears. All the surface level 1, 2, 3 step system, all that bullshit you can get for free. That's not what you pay for. You pay for a better mindset. You pay for the mental technology because that shit is priceless. Why? Think about that. Think about if you have a computer and then you upload a superior software to it. Doesn't it work better? Would that not be worth the investment? So that's why I've always heavily focused on this stuff in communication, because this is the meat and bones of what you need. This is what's really important. Not all that other crap that you can just plug in, which is important, but again, schedule, business plan, all that stuff, you can do that on your own. That's not difficult. So when you think about this, right, that was point one. You have to understand that there's more opportunity there. It's not just that one, right? This will help you not be so attached, right? Here's another one, right? Mentally, okay? Mentally, moving forward, there's more opportunities, right? Number two is this. In those moments, you're placing that particular individual opportunity or whatever it is, right? Fill in the blank. You're making them more significant than you, which is a mistake that you make, which is why it affects you so much emotionally, okay? Why do we do that? Why do we have this? And then this happens even outside of the scenario. It happens in dating. It happens in all areas of life, but it causes this negative reaction in people and emotions. Why do we put that particular, let's say, appointment or meeting? Why do we put that shit on a pedestal? Why do we put that shit on a pedestal, right? You're doing that, by the way, for whatever reason, right? You were told to do it. You're scared. You're new. Fill in the blank, right? Fill in the blank. But you're doing that. And again, what is that? That's a manifestation of the similar one, like the previous point, which is it's all in your head. You're creating that. But why? Why? I mean, let's think about it even logically for a second. You're the professional. You're providing the service. If you follow me, then obviously you're somebody who works on their shit. You're probably in coaching. Like, you take this shit serious. So you have all the ingredients that you need to sit in front of somebody, on the phone with somebody, talk to somebody, knowing that, hey, I have something legit here. This is what I want to do, right? There's no fluff here. There's no bullshit. So why would we make that person or opportunity greater than ourselves? Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So when you start peeling back the layers of this onion, you realize, goddamn, I'm mentally fucking myself with this. But again, from what I referenced in the beginning about that yin and yang, right? That is that quality that once you have it, man, the higher quality of what you want is there. It's just going to take a lot of that work in the beginning to build to get to that point, because that would be like level 7. It doesn't get unlocked until you're at level 6, right? This is an internal process that you go through as you accumulate experience, because then you realize what works and what doesn't. And a lot of times the outward moves is kind of your doorway and pathway into it, right? The physiological aspect of it, right? Because you start doing it, right? You know what works, what doesn't. And through that work and experience, the inner part gets worked on, right? Which is why I've always preached to people from the beginning, take massive action, man. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fuck up. But the learning is in that, because then you take your experience, and from there you can extract the data that you need to improve. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? But you got to do it. You got to do it. There's no way around that. You can never take away from the man or individual who has put in the work, especially if they're paying attention at all and being studious with it. It's impossible for them not to learn, right? I would rather have the person who on paper or who just talent-wise has very low talent, but is willing to work their ass off. Give me that person. I'll make them a fucking superstar and whatever. That's what I want, right? That's what I want. Give me that. Because that person's going to accumulate so much time or so much experience in a short amount of time that we're going to have so much more data to grab and to work with. That's what we want. From there, boom, we're good. But see, there's so few people who are actually willing to do that for a sustained period of time in whatever. It could be karate, it could be music, it could be sales, it could be whatever. So when we look at even more advanced stages of it and learning certain things that trigger subconscious things in people, right? As you ascend that ladder of influence, persuasion, whatever it is, that person's going to climb that ladder quicker and get to that level of technique much faster than the other person, even though they had less talent, because they're willing to put in the work. Now, I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but you got to follow me here. Because a lot of this stuff isn't just earned by listening to a podcast. It is trial and error. It's a lot of time in your bunker, in your apartment, wherever you're at, writing stuff down, experimenting, going out in the real world and doing what you do every day, field testing things, getting the feedback that you need, analyzing it, assessing it, making the tweaks, going back out there and doing it again. Because it's as much inner as it is outer, and that balance has fallen out tremendously. And even the type of inner and outer work, right? Let me give you some examples. I tell people, you got to go out there and prospect and talk to people. They tell me, well, I'm messaging people on social media. Dude, that's not fucking talking to people. That's not the same as going out and talking to a stranger. You may have fooled yourself and thought that, but it's not. Nothing's going to replace that cold approach on the street or a door knock or a cold call, right? That's not messaging people online is not a live conversation. You can supplement by doing that, sure, but it doesn't replace that. Same thing with the inner work. When I've told people to sit in silence and do some of these exercises that I've given over the years, they don't want to do it. Hell, I'll tell people, work on your focus, stare at a flame on a candle for a minute, and they won't even do that. They won't even sit down and meditate. They won't even take a cold shower. They won't even do like the basic stuff that's paramount to lay a foundation. But everybody wants to skip that stuff, right? Oh, give me the juicy stuff. I was like, motherfucker, you ain't even ready for it, dude. Why do you think the majority of content that gets consumed on repeat and recycle on YouTube is basic level shit? Even if we wanted to give the most advanced shit, nobody's fucking ready for it, or a sliver of people are. But 99% will fool themselves. Oh, no, I'm ready for it. And then when you do get it, you don't even give a fuck about it. It's just like, oh, yeah, that's good stuff. Or, oh, I already know that. Yeah, you know it? Well, look at your life. Your life doesn't demonstrate that you know it. That's a fucking fact. I've been doing this shit for almost 10 years online, right? And I met very few people who put their money where their mouth is and actually can sustain the level of action of the examples that have been given online, whether my story or other people's. Very few, very few. So you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, if I'm going after some of these things, but I'm only putting in a quarter of the effort that they put in, if we're just being realistic about it, and factual with it, you're not going to achieve the same amount of results that they did in the same amount of time. That's why you guys can never try to measure yourself with me or someone else, right? Because even if you did that, you're not doing the exact same things that we did, right? I don't know. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, right? So I'll wrap it up here. That level of finding that harmony between being serious, locked in, but also loose, right? And it's not a big deal, and having that energy, man, if you can find that balance, and a lot of people think they have it, but they don't, or they kind of have it, but not really at that level, because you have to be able to exhibit that in every area of life. If you can do it in one area of life, that's great. But to truly master it, you have to be an embodiment of it and live it and breathe it in all areas of your life. To where, like, if I have you walk a tightrope across, a canyon, you're not going to be pissing your pants. It's scary for sure. It's scary for sure. But can you maintain that poise? That's a tough one, isn't it? Cool. All right, we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for watching, guys. Shout out to Team BC. If you guys are interested in Team BC and you want to join my actual team, join teambc.com. If you want to find out more about EXP and come under our wing to be a part of EXP Realty, go to partner with Team BC. If you want to find out more about my coaching, my link tree on Instagram is available. BrianCasella.com is available, or you can message me directly. All right, that's it for this episode. We'll see you guys. For those of you who are going to be in Vegas, I'm doing that event with Brad Lee, I think is his name, Tom Ferry, and all those guys. I'll be there Friday for that event in Vegas. Then I'll be coming back next week. We have the Lunch and Learns in Orlando and Lakeland. If you guys need those links, you can message me. That's going to be the 29th and the 30th. And then we have our grand opening for our office, Team VC office in Central Florida. All right. That's it for this one, guys. Peace.